Okay, now keep in mind, Trump has promised to cut the corporate tax rate. CEOs like corporate tax cuts, and they have looked the other way many times before because of those tax cuts. But it sounds like they're having a harder time seeing past his unhinged behavior, and that does say something. And for his part, Trump isn't exactly doing anything to reassure people about his own cognitive abilities. Just last night, Trump forgot that his own former doctor's name is actually Ronnie Jackson. Take a listen. We're back with Congressman Jamie Raskin. We'll hopefully play that for you later. So, Congressman, I just wanted to ask you about the CEOs, because Andrew Ross Sorkin, who does an extensive amount of reporting, these CEOs have looked the other way frequently when it comes to Trump's behavior because of tax cuts and other things like that. It seems to me it's like something that they are concerned about his unhinged behavior. I mean, what did you make of that reporting?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like there had been a trend of our American oligarchs getting behind Donald Trump because he likes to make a deal and everything's transactional and quid pro quo. But to get in a room with him and to listen to him speak is to see how deranged and outlandish his speculations are right now, in addition to everything else that he, stands for. I mean, for him, government is just a money-making opportunity for him and his family, and he converted the presidency into an instrument of private self-enrichment, and that is dramatically opposed to what Joe Biden's all about. The government has got to be an instrument for the common good and the public interest for everybody, so the stakes are very clear in the election.
Has not been as critical at every moment at the Supreme Court. He has been more of late, but he basically said it's never been more out of kilter than it is today. I mean, do you agree with that?
Well, it's just operating like an arm of the Republican Party, which is now completely under the thumb of Donald Trump. And so if Trump thinks it's politically advantageous to make an alliance with the National Rifle Association, the Supreme Court's going to do it. We saw it in the bump stock opinion. Which basically overthrew the wisdom of the ATF, the executive branch of government, even when Trump was there and president, and said, oh, no, a bump stock added to a semi-automatic weapon cannot be treated as a machine gun because that's the NRA line. Now, we're going to go back and try to make this happen legislatively. That Vegas massacre took the lives of 58 people. There are 500 people wounded and still suffering from that day. I can't imagine what it's like for them to be watching this on TV with the Supreme Court making a mockery out of that experience.
Jamie Raskin does make some very good points there. On the subject of Trump's cognitive scenarios, situations, not sure really how we describe the functions of his brain. His doctor is obviously somebody who is the one that diagnoses and carries out the cognitive tests. You would like to think that Trump can actually remember the name of the doctor that sets the tests. Problem.
He doesn't even know what the word inflation means. I don't think if you gave him a quiz, I think he should take a cognitive test like I did. I took a cognitive test and I aced it. Doc Ronnie Johnson. Does everyone know Ronnie Johnson, congressman from Texas? He was the White House doctor. And he said I was the healthiest president he feels in history. So I liked him very much immediately. In fact, he said if I didn't eat junk food, I would live to 200. That's what he said. But I said, Ronnie, should I take a test? He said, well, it's Walter Reed. It's sort of a public hospital. If you don't do well, they're going to find out about it. I said, well, I'm a smart person. How tough is it? He said, it gets very tough as you get to the middle of it. And I did something that he's never seen done. I aced it. I got every question right. I aced it in front of a lot of people.
So this friend, Beyonce, tore up the charts.
Yes.
Cowboy Carter was a huge hit.
I know it's kind of crazy in 2024 that some people that only like one type of music. I mean, I love a little bit of rap, R&B, hip-hop, pop music. I love myself a pop song. Yesterday, I was actually going to the dry cleaners, believe it or not, and a song came on the radio, and I was thinking, what's this? Got to listen to this, and it was a song by Luke Bryan, which I'd never heard before, and thought, this is really, really good. And then I saw this thing that Chris Wallace has done where he's asking the question, is country music still with some xenophobic tones? And it was just really interesting because obviously the Beyonce thing has come along. This ain't Texas. It's the worst version ever. And maybe that's changed a few narrow minds and opinions. So what do you think? What are your thoughts about how country music is perceived? If you have any links to country music, I'd love to know your views. Comment section now.
So this spring, Beyonce tore up the charts.
Yes.
Cowboy Carter was a huge hit. How big was that?
Huge. It was so big. I mean, I can't express enough how big what she did was, because she brought so many eyes to the genre. You know, one of the things I love about what Beyonce did is when I started making country music and having hits, I'd have African-American women and men come up to me and go, I love country music. I could never say it. Until now you're playing it, I could say it. You know, and she brought, I think, even more eyes to the genre and more people looking at it and more black people going, all right, man, I like country music. And that's, I always say I want country music to look more like America, and I think she did a lot to make it go that way.
A couple of years ago, you wrote that country music still had the stigma of rebel flags and racism.
It's still around, you know. It's still, you still see it some places, and I don't think that's ever going to go away. I mean, it's still there. It's not as prevalent as it was. It's not the majority of country music, but you know, it's still there.
Still, I mean, this was a couple of years ago. You still think it's there?
It's still because it's still in America. You know, it's still part of America, the American, what we know as America.
You can tell us why.
I say, what would happen if the boat sank from its weight and you're in the boat and you have this tremendously powerful battery and the battery's now underwater and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. Do you notice that? A lot of shark. I watched some guys justifying it today. Well, they weren't really that angry. They bit off the young lady's leg because of the fact that they were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are crazy. He said there's no problem with sharks. They just didn't really understand a young woman swimming now really got decimated, and other people too, a lot of shark attacks. So I said, so there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards, or here. Do I get electrocuted if the boat is sinking, water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking? Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted? Or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? Because I will tell you, he didn't know the answer. He said, you know, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, I think it's a good question.
Just met your pastor, your great pastor, Lorenzo Sewell,
you know what I do if there
for
was a
hosting
shark?
us. I want to thank Lorenzo for hosting us and for all the work he's done to serve the people of this community. I hear he's phenomenal. For hosting us, I want to thank Lorenzo for hosting us and for all the work he's done to serve the people of this community. I hear he's phenomenal. Where's Lorenzo? Where is Lorenzo? What a good job you've done, Lorenzo.
All I would say, and by the way, tremendous, bring on the live debates, because what happens with this, it's all putting it out, yeah? There's nothing where he's really been challenged. It's appealing to, wow, you think Charlie Kirk is
And
the...
in particular, and remember this. Oh, wait a minute.
Comment
Mike
section.
Lindell, please stand up, okay? Whoever heads the United Auto Workers is doing an absolutely terrible job. His name wouldn't be Sean Fain, would it?
You know,
Sean
I got
Fain?
the man of the
Whoever
year.
this guy in Michigan, years ago, long before politics, like 12, 13 years ago. And you know who owns the car plants being built in Mexico? China!
How am I meant to take this guy seriously? I mean, do people really believe the fact that beef trendman, can't even say it, basically won't need to wipe your own backside after he has taken over? No, he's going to make sure that from now on you won't need toilet roll because the crap you'll be producing won't exist. Everything will be smelling roses. I mean, it's just, anybody that believes this probably should go and get some therapy. He really believes that anything that's going on in the world right now that isn't good, let's say you've run out of bread over the weekend, he'll sort it out. Let's say you happen to have, I don't know, a common cold, he'll sort it out. The great stutter. Seriously? I've seen a lot of politicians speak. I understand how the political game goes, but this guy? Rape. Guilty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, count it in, 31, 32, 33, 34.
Joe. And I said to Charlie, and I said to Michael, I said to everyone, listen, we don't need votes. We got more votes than anybody's ever had. We need to watch the vote. We need to guard the vote. We need to stop the steal.
And you know who owns the
we
car
don't need
plants
votes. We have
being
to stop.
built
Focus.
in
Don't worry
Mexico?
about votes. We got all the votes.
China!
I was in Florida yesterday. Every house has a Trump sign. Trump, 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 Trump. So we can't let these people destroy our country like this. I mean, they're going crazy. Today you read where they don't want to have any water in your dishwasher. So your dishwasher won't work. And they think that's good. So what you do is you keep having it go on and on and on. The electric bill is 10 times more than the water. And these are areas that have so much water, they don't know what to do with it. They're flooding. They're floodplains. They have so much water in many cases. Now, we can't do that. You know, I ended that. I went to, in Ohio, a great company was going out of business because of dishwashers. They wouldn't give the water. You couldn't sell the product. And South Korea and China were dumping dishwashers in here for half the cost. They weren't as good. Whirlpool, but half the cost, they weren't as good. And I went and I saved it. I put a 50% and 100% tariff on all of these dumped machines. And I saved that company. And then I said to the head of the company, who was great actually, called me, said, we don't know what to do. You can't, I mean, they're dumping this stuff. They can't be, you know, they're losing a fortune. But it didn't matter because their governments were paying for it. He said, I don't know what to do. I said, it's okay. So I solved the one problem. They're not dumping. What's your next problem? They don't allow us to use water. We need more water. You can't wash dishes unless you have a certain amount of water. I said, how much do you need? We need just a little bit more. I said, I'll give you a lot more. I gave them a lot more. Now they want to end it again. You ever go into a new home where you have a shower where the water doesn't come out of the shower head? They put a restrictor on. I took all the restrictors off. I took them off. I've had the experience. I take a shower. I want that beautiful head of hair to be nice and wet. Lather. I want it to be lathered beautifully. And I get this best stuff you can buy, and I dump it all over. And then I turn on the water, and the damn water drips out. Takes me. I can't get this stuff out of my hair. It's a horrible thing. And he said, no, it's terrible. Oh, you turn on the sink and the faucet. You turn it, and no water. Breathe. Practically no water comes. I said, you leave your hands under there. You're trying to get the water. Well, he had no idea where the hell he was. He's watching a parachute land, and he turns around to look at trees.